The quantum receiver aboard Deep Space Research Station Artemis had been silent for months. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display, fighting back exhaustion as she completed another routine scan of the outer rim. The year was 2189, and humanity had spread throughout their solar system, but the vast darkness between stars remained unconquered. The silence broke with a sound unlike anything in the station's database. Sarah's eyes snapped open as the quantum harmonics shifted into patterns that defied natural occurrence. The signal pulsed with a complexity that spoke of artificial origin, yet it carried an urgency that transcended language. "Commander Hassan," Sarah's voice remained steady despite her racing heart. "I need you in the quantum lab immediately." Within minutes, the station's small crew gathered around the central display. Commander Yusuf Hassan studied the cascading data with narrowed eyes, while Dr. James O'Neill, the station's physicist, ran analysis after analysis. "It's not random," James muttered, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "There's a pattern here it's almost like it's alive." The signal contained embedded mathematical sequences that seemed to fold in upon themselves, creating multi-dimensional patterns that their most advanced quantum computers struggled to process. But within this complexity lay something that made Sarah's breath catch, a repeating sequence that could only be interpreted as coordinates. "It's coming from the Carina Nebula," Sarah announced, her voice barely above a whisper. "And it's not just coordinates. This is a distress call." The revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's scientific community. The signal appeared to be a desperate plea for help, but the source lay over 7,000 light-years away, with humanity's most advanced ships barely capable of reaching Alpha Centauri. The distance seemed insurmountable. But Sarah noticed something else in the signal, something that others had missed. Hidden within the quantum fluctuations was information, technical data that hinted at possibilities beyond current human understanding. The message wasn't just asking for help, it was offering a key to reaching them. "Look at this," she highlighted a recurring pattern in the signal. "These aren't just random quantum states. They're instructions." Over the next few weeks, scientists worldwide worked to decode the alien transmission. What emerged was both thrilling and terrifying. The signal contained partial blueprints for technology far beyond human capability, technology that could bend space itself. But the blueprints were incomplete, with crucial elements missing. During an emergency United Nations session, debate raged over how to respond. Some argued it was too risky, that the signal could be a trap. Others insisted that humanity had a moral obligation to help, regardless of the distance or danger. Dr. Chen stood before the assembly, her normally reserved demeanor replaced by passionate conviction. "Throughout our history, humans have attempted what seemed impossible. We've crossed oceans, climbed mountains, reached the stars, not because it was easy, but because someone needed help. This signal isn't just a test of our technology. It's a test of who we are as a species." The decision was made. Project Starbridge was initiated, combining the resources and expertise of every spacefaring nation. Their mission: decode the alien technology, fill in the gaps with human innovation, and attempt what no human had dreamed possible: a rescue mission across thousands of light-years. As Sarah worked through another sleepless night aboard Artemis, she noticed something curious about the signal. The gaps in the technical data weren't random. They appeared in places where human creativity and innovation would be most crucial. It was almost as if a new transmission cut through her thoughts. This one was different, clearer, more direct. As the message decoded itself across her screen, Sarah realized that humanity's response to the distress call had set in motion events that would forever change their place in the galaxy. The real test was just beginning. Last edited 3 minutes ago. The massive hangar beneath the Atacama Desert hummed with activity as Project Starbridge took shape. Chief Engineer Maya Patel stood before the experimental drive core, its crystalline structure pulsing with an otherworldly glow. The alien blueprints had provided a framework, but the missing elements forced humanity to innovate in ways they'd never imagined. The quantum alignment is still unstable, Maya announced to her team, studying the holographic diagnostics floating around the core. The alien materials they described, we simply can't replicate them with current technology. Dr. Victor Rossi, the project's lead physicist, stepped forward. His usually immaculate lab coat was stained with coffee and graphene residue. Then we don't replicate them. We find our own solution. This had become the unofficial motto of Project Starbridge. Where alien technology called for impossible materials, humans substituted with clever workarounds. When conventional physics said something couldn't be done, they found unconventional approaches that somehow worked. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Rachel Wong, a graduate student who'd been studying quantum entanglement, noticed something in the signal's background noise that everyone else had missed. The gaps in the alien blueprints weren't just missing information. They were puzzles deliberately designed to test problem-solving ability. Look at the pattern, Rachel explained to the project leaders, her excitement barely contained. They're not telling us how to build a faster-than-light drive. They're showing us how to think about space-time in a completely new way. Maya's team began approaching the problem differently. Instead of trying to match the alien technology exactly, they started incorporating distinctly human innovations. They combined quantum mechanics with traditional engineering in ways that would have seemed absurd months ago. The prototype ship, christened Prometheus, began to take shape. Its hull incorporated a hybrid of conventional materials and quantum-stabilized alloys. The drive core, while based on alien principles, operated using mechanisms that the original blueprints had never conceived of. It's not elegant, Maya admitted during a progress review. The aliens probably wouldn't approve of our duct tape and string approach. But it works. The first test nearly ended in disaster. The quantum field collapsed unexpectedly, threatening to tear the prototype apart. But the redundant systems Maya had insisted on, despite their absence from the alien designs, saved both ship and crew. More importantly, the failure taught them something crucial about how their hybrid technology actually worked. As weeks turned into months, the project faced countless setbacks. Each failure brought new understanding. Each problem forced innovative solutions. The international team worked with a unity of purpose rarely seen in human history, driven by the continuing signal that reminded them someone, somewhere, needed help. Commander Elena Santos, selected to lead the first actual flight, watched the final assembly from the observation deck. The Prometheus looked nothing like the sleek design suggested by the alien blueprints. It was distinctly human, practical, over-engineered, with backup systems for the backup systems. "It's ugly," Victor commented, joining her at the window, "but beautiful in its own way." Elena nodded. Like humanity itself, we're not the most elegant solution to intelligence in the universe, but we're surprisingly effective. The day of the first full power test arrived with tension so thick it felt physical. Maya stood at her station in mission control, surrounded by screens showing readouts that merged alien mathematics with human engineering principles. As the Prometheus powered up its hybrid drive, something unexpected happened. The quantum field didn't just stabilize. It exceeded theoretical limitations. The human modifications, rather than compromising the alien technology, had somehow enhanced it. "This is impossible," Victor whispered, staring at the readings. "According to everything we know about physics, this shouldn't work at all." Yet, Rachel completed his thought. Yet it does. Maybe that's humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Doing the impossible because nobody told us we couldn't. As the test concluded successfully, a new transmission arrived from deep space. The message was brief but clear. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for true trial. Maya looked at her team, seeing the same determination reflected in every face. Whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them the same way they always had, with creativity, resilience, and the stubborn refusal to accept impossibility as an answer. The real test was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they could really do. The bridge of the Prometheus fell silent as the holographic projection materialized before them. The beam that appeared had crystalline features and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. When it spoke, its words translated directly into their minds. Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Observer Zenith of the Galactic Evaluation Council. Commander Elena Santos stood from her captain's chair, her expression neutral despite the shock rippling through her crew. I take it this means there was no actual distress call. Correct. The observer's form shimmed slightly. The signal was a test, one we have presented to over 10,000 emerging civilizations across the galaxy. You are the first to respond in this unique manner. Maya Patel, who had insisted on joining the first actual flight, stepped forward. Unique manner. You mean we did it wrong? Not wrong, Zenith corrected. Unprecedented. Most species who receive our signal spend decades, sometimes centuries, attempting to perfectly replicate our technology. They wait until they have the exact materials and understanding required. You improvised. The observer's form moved through the bridge, studying the various human modifications to the alien designs. You took our quantum field principles and merged them with your primitive fusion technology. You replaced impossible-to-manufacture materials with ingenious workarounds. You even added numerous backup systems we never considered necessary. Because things go wrong, Elena stated simply. Space is dangerous. We've learned it the hard way. Yes, Zenith's voice carried something like fascination. Your species has a remarkable relationship with failure. Where others see insurmountable obstacles, you see opportunities for innovation. The observer gestured, and suddenly the bridge was surrounded by projections showing the development of the Prometheus. Watch, it commanded. They saw themselves working, failing, adapting, trying again. But now they could see what they hadn't before. Subtle quantum fluctuations their hybrid technology was creating, ripples in spacetime that shouldn't have been possible at their level of development. Your crude modifications, Zenith explained, have accidentally discovered principles of quantum engineering that the Council itself only recently mastered. Your drive system, while enormously inefficient by our standards, can do things our technology cannot. Dr. Victor Rossi, who had also joined the mission, leaned forward with intense interest. What kinds of things? Your quantum field doesn't just bend space. It adapts to it. The very instabilities you worked so hard to compensate for create micro-adjustments we never thought possible. It's like the observer paused, searching for an analogy they would understand, like the difference between walking on a paved road and learning to dance on rough terrain. Maya's eyes widened as understanding dawned. The redundancies, the backup systems, they're not just safety measures. They're creating a dynamic feedback loop with the quantum field. Precisely. Zenith's form grew brighter with what seemed like excitement. You have accidentally created a completely new branch of quantum physics, and you did it because you were too focused on helping others to realize it should have been impossible. The observer turned to face the entire crew. The test is not over. In fact, it has barely begun. But its nature has changed. We originally designed this evaluation to find species capable of following complex instructions. Instead, we have found something far more valuable. A species that can show us new possibilities. Elena sat back in her captain's chair, a slight smile playing at her lips. So what exactly is this new test? There is a real crisis, Zenith revealed, one that has puzzled the Council for millennia. We have tried solving it with pure logic, with perfect technology, with meticulous planning. Perhaps, the observer's form flickered thoughtfully, perhaps it is time to try humanity's approach instead. The bridge erupted in activity as new data streamed across their screens, information about a genuine problem that threatened the stability of multiple galaxies. The details were complex, the scale almost incomprehensible, but every human present felt a familiar surge of determination. One condition, Elena stated firmly. We do this our way. No more pretending to be less advanced than you are. Full disclosure, honest collaboration. Agreed, Zenith responded immediately. Though I must warn you, Many in the council will not understand or approve of your methods. Maya grinned as she studied the preliminary data. Good thing we're used to working with skeptics. Now let's see what happens when human ingenuity meets advanced alien technology. For real this time. The true test was beginning, and humanity was about to show the galaxy that sometimes the best solutions come from those who never learned something was supposed to be impossible. The quantum anomaly stretched across 3 galaxies like a slowly spreading fracture in reality itself. On the bridge of the Prometheus, now joined by representatives from the Galactic Council, Maya Patel studied the readings with growing concern. "You're saying this rift has been expanding for over 10,000 years?" she asked, watching the simulation of the anomaly's growth. "Correct," answered Zenith, while other council members displayed data streams that would have been incomprehensible months ago. "Our most advanced containment methods have only managed to slow its progression." Commander Elena Santos watched her crew analyzing the problem from different angles, where the council members approached it with sophisticated models and perfect calculations. The humans were already thinking about practical solutions. What happens if we try to seal it like a crack in a ship's hull? Dr. Rachel Wong suggested, earning bewildered looks from the council members. "This is a quantum-level disruption of space-time," one crystalline being stated, its tone suggesting it was speaking to a child. "It cannot be addressed with such primitive analogies." "Why not?" Maya challenged, already running simulations. "The principles aren't that different. When we patch a hull breach, we're not just covering it. We're reinforcing the surrounding structure to prevent further damage." Victor Rossi jumped in, his hands flying over the holographic controls. "And our hybrid drive system already manipulates space-time in ways your technology doesn't. What if we applied that same principle here?" The council members watched with a mixture of confusion and fascination as the humans brainstormed, their ideas building on each other in what must have seemed like chaos to their ordered minds. "Look at this," Maya called up a visualization of their drive's quantum field. "We designed these fluctuations to compensate for our technological limitations, but what if that's exactly what we need here? A flexible approach instead of a rigid containment." The next 48 hours were a blur of activity. The humans worked in shifts, testing theories that the council dismissed as impossible until the results proved otherwise. They treated the cosmic anomaly not as an abstract problem of quantum mechanics, but as a practical engineering challenge. The breakthrough came during what the humans called a coffee break, a concept that mystified the council members. "We're thinking about this backwards," Rachel announced, her eyes bright with caffeine and inspiration. "We've been trying to seal the rift, but what if we could make it seal itself?" She pulled up the latest scan of the anomaly. "Look at how our drive system creates micro-adjustments in space-time. What if we could introduce that same kind of adaptive response into the fabric of space around the rift?" The council members' initial skepticism gave way to cautious interest as the humans developed their idea. Using the Prometheus as a test platform, they began modifying their hybrid drive technology into something new. A system that could potentially teach space-time itself how to repair tears in its fabric. The first test nearly ended in disaster. The quantum feedback was stronger than anticipated, threatening to tear the ship apart. But the multiple backup systems, the very redundancies the council had considered inefficient, allowed them to maintain control and gather crucial data. "It's working," Maya shouted over the groaning of the ship's structure. "The field is actually encouraging space-time to normalize itself." Through the viewing screen, they watched as the test area of the rift began to shimmer. The tear wasn't simply being forced closed. It was healing, the fabric of space-time learning to resist further damage. "Remarkable," Zenith observed. "You're not just patching the damage, you're strengthening the underlying structure, like scar tissue in living beings. Sometimes the best way to fix something isn't to restore it to its original state," Elena explained, "but to help it become stronger at the broken places." As the test concluded successfully, the council members engaged in rapid communication among themselves. Their initial dismissal of human methods had transformed into genuine respect. We will need to scale this solution dramatically, one council member noted. The logistics of applying this across 3 galaxies are immense. Elena smiled. Good thing humans have plenty of experience figuring out how to do impossible things with limited resources. I think it's time to show you how we handle large-scale projects back on Earth. The real work was just beginning, but humanity had proven something extraordinary. Sometimes, the most elegant solutions come from those who have learned to work around their limitations rather than overcome them. 5 years after humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council, the quantum rift that had threatened 3 galaxies was finally stabilizing. The massive project had become known throughout the galaxy as the human solution, not because humans had done all the work, but because their unique approach had made it possible. Commander Elena Santos, now serving as humanity's representative to the Council, stood before the assembled beings from across the galaxy. The chamber itself was a testament to the changes of the past 5 years, combining the Council's crystalline architecture with practical human modifications. The final sections of the rift have begun self-repair, she announced, gesturing to the holographic display. Our monitoring stations report a 60% reduction in quantum instability across all affected regions. The success had not come easily. Scaling up the solution had required resources beyond anything humanity had ever managed. But where advanced civilizations saw insurmountable logistics, humans saw challenges to overcome through cooperation and creativity. Maya Patel, now heading the Galactic Engineering Exchange Program, stepped forward to explain the technical details. The key wasn't just the technology, she emphasized. It was teaching other species to think differently about problem solving. The human approach had spread through the galaxy like a benevolent virus. Advanced civilizations that had relied purely on perfect solutions began experimenting with hybrid technologies. The concept of good enough for now, improve it later, had revolutionized galactic development. We've received reports from over 300 systems, Dr. Victor Rossi added, his holographic form projecting from a research station in the Andromeda Galaxy. Species that were stuck trying to achieve theoretical perfection are making practical progress by adopting human methodologies. Observer Zenith, who had become one of humanity's strongest advocates, addressed the Council. When we first encountered humans, we thought their primitive technology and improvised solutions represented a failing. We now understand that this very approach, this ability to work with imperfect solutions and improve them through iteration, is precisely what our galaxy needed. The evidence was undeniable. The human practice of adding redundancies and backup systems had prevented 3 major disasters in the past year alone. Their habit of finding unconventional uses for existing technology had sparked a renaissance in galactic engineering. But perhaps most importantly, Rachel Wong, now leading the Council's newly formed Innovation Division, spoke up. We've demonstrated that progress doesn't always mean waiting for perfect solutions. Sometimes it means having the courage to try imperfect ones. The Council chamber filled with a soft harmonic tone, the equivalent of applause among many species. Humanity had earned their place among the stars not by matching advanced civilizations' capabilities, but by showing them a different way forward. There is a human saying, Elena addressed the assembly, that perfect is the enemy of good. We never tried to be perfect. We just tried to help, to solve problems, to make things better than they were before. And in doing so, we've all learned something valuable about progress itself. As she spoke, news arrived from Earth. The first generation of ships incorporating both human innovation and advanced alien technology was ready for launch. They weren't the most elegant vessels in the galaxy, but they could do things no other ships could do. The galaxy faces many challenges, Elena concluded. Some we know about, others we have yet to discover. But together, combining the advanced knowledge of the Council with humanity's practical creativity, we're better prepared to face those challenges than ever before. The session ended with a historic announcement. Earth would become the site of the galaxy's first Institute of Practical Innovation, where species from across the cosmos would learn to combine advanced theory with human-style problem-solving. As Maya and Elena walked through the council station's corridors later that day, they passed dozens of beings from different species, all working together in ways that would have seemed impossible 5 years ago. You know what the best part is? Maya mused, watching a group of crystalline beings earnestly discussing the merits of duct tape with a quantum physicist from Alpha Centauri. We haven't just changed how they solve problems. We've changed how they think about problems themselves. Elena nodded, smiling as she spotted a council member attempting to explain a complex quantum theorem using a coffee cup as a visual aid, a distinctly human teaching method. That's humanity's real legacy to the galaxy, she agreed. We showed them that sometimes the best solutions come not from having the most advanced technology or the perfect answer, but from being willing to try, fail, adapt, and keep going until you find something that works. As they looked out at the star-filled expanse of space, they could see ships of various designs moving between the worlds, some sleek and perfect, others bearing the distinct marks of human influence. Each represented a different approach to exploring the cosmos, and together they made the galaxy stronger than either approach could have achieved alone. Humanity had found their place in the universe, not by becoming like the advanced species they'd encountered, but by showing those species the value of being a little more like humans.